Alrighty, we are here on the combat zone. Luckily enough, we are here with the APFC flyweight champion, Cody, the Code Breaker Lynn. Thank you for coming on, sir.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You have a big fight coming up on November 17th against Roy Echeverria in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You're 9-1. This is your fourth APFC title defense. You are lapping everybody in APFC on these title defenses. What are you most excited for? Are you excited for fighting at home? Are you excited to fight in the big crowd for the APFC? This is probably your biggest named opponent.
All of it really. I've been hearing that this is gonna be like their biggest show. The venue's huge. It's gonna be cool to fight in there. I really feel like I have this feeling that APFC is gonna kind of everything they've been working on all the other shows. They've kind of figured their stuff out now, and they're kind of gonna bring it all to this show, and it's just gonna be a massive, massive show. And obviously fighting Roy makes it even bigger. A big name. It's just setting the tone for everything. I'm really excited for it.
Me too. I can't wait. They're stacking that card. They put Mark Choinsky on there as well, UWO alumni. But in my opinion, Roy is probably your toughest opponent to date. He's fought on the Contender Series. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way that time. But if you get a win this week, you are more than likely on the short list of people for a big promotion to call. What do you think makes Roy? He's a big name for a reason. What do you think makes him so dangerous?
I think his patience and him being explosive, right? Those two things mixed. He knows when to go, and when he does go, it's very explosive. I'd say that's like his best tool. Obviously, to his experience, being on a contender already, kind of having that feeling of the UFC, So like, fighting APFC isn't necessarily going to shake him at all or change. He's already fought on Dana White Contender Series, so I think kind of those two mixtures really make him a dangerous opponent for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And for you, you've been on a crazy win streak recently and finishing a lot of your opponents. Out of your last three title defenses, was there a certain moment from one of the fight weeks that like stood out to you? It was a good moment, a bad moment leading up to the fight.
It's a good question. I don't think I've ever been asked this. Off the top of my head, I can't really think, honestly, like a good or a bad moment. During fight week, I try and take it in. It's kind of like in my eyes, like a mini vacation, because you train so hard and then you kind of let your body recover. You still train, obviously, the week of, but it's not nearly intense. And I like taking in the whole experience, getting there at weigh-ins, getting the shirt, taking the picture, signing the poster, kind of just try and take that as much as I can because I feel like before early in my career I kind of just like looked over that. I try and enjoy the moment and everything more and have fun with my training partners during fight week as well. So not really a certain moment that sticks out, but just the whole fight week in general, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, awesome. And like you said, it's kind of like a mini vacation to you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
fought basically primarily in the Midwest and all over the Midwest. You fought in Hammond, you fought all over Wisconsin, you fought in Iowa. I believe your first professional fight was in Oklahoma.
yeah, yeah.
Was there a specific place that you like to fight most, or was like the nicest fight week vacation wise for you? Like, was there a place that surprised you?
No, I would say I feel like I like traveling for my fights more, as weird as that sounds. It's just I feel like I get the whole experience and kind of focuses me in more, Like when fight week here, obviously I don't really I'm an hour away from most venues when I'm fighting around here. So I kind of stay at home. Lately I've been still getting hotels and stuff, just kind of, get in that mode. I don't want to like be around people necessarily, just my training partners. But when I have to like fly out to somewhere, it kind of just sets the tone, like I'm going out for business, I fly out, stay there for a couple of days, do my thing. So not really a certain place, but I do enjoy more, which just sounds weird, fighting almost away from home and having to experience all that rather than at home.
No, I 100% feel that. I think that's probably a very fun part about being a fighter, like getting to go to a new location and experience that. Is there a place that you want to fight that you haven't fought yet?
I mean, there's a lot, like obviously, like everybody, Madison Square Garden's kind of like the biggest thing. That's like on the bucket list, but like they can take me everywhere, like this weekend, Abu Dhabi, they're in Dubai, like that's crazy. Even just fighting like Vegas or California in the warmer states, like just taking all that in, and I mean, really anywhere, it's not. It's cool to have that experience, but you're so focused on the fight during fight week that you don't really get to take necessarily all of it in. So for me, yeah, it's just wherever the fights bring me.
Well, you mentioned Abu Dhabi. It made me think of a question. When traveling to these places, do you ever think about like home cooking and judging at all? Like if you go, like in Wisconsin, you're more like, oh, this is my hometown. This is good. The crowd will be on my side. But maybe if you're in Hammond fighting someone from Indiana or Chicago, are you ever nervous about that, or is that not something you're thinking about?
No, not really, to be honest. And for like the cooking portion, like cutting weight and all of that, we have it. I mean, there's grocery stores everywhere, and like we have it dialed in. Like I bring a guy with me. He does like all of that for me. I literally just sit back. He tells me drink this, eat that. I just focus on the fight and making the weight. So it's really simple because we bring our own grill. We cook. It's all clean. So it works out. So really, wherever we go, it doesn't matter as long as we bring our little shack grill. We're good to go. But fighting different states, fighting someone else, like maybe they're the favorite. It doesn't really bother me, to be honest, because once you're in there, it's kind of just it's you and him, right? Like it doesn't matter who says is gonna win this fight or that fight. It's like now we gotta sell this right now.
No, 100%. And like I said earlier, you're the most, I'm trying to think of the right wording, or you're the most active APFC champion ever. You have the most title defenses of any APFC fighter ever. If you defend the belt a fourth time, is there a new goal that you have in mind, like reaching a fifth title defense, jumping somewhere else? What are you thinking?
Um, Kind of our plan we had written out, you'll say. Obviously you write it out, things can change, different turns, but this is kind of planning to be the last one before we make that jump. Just because we feel like this is kind of like our contender series fight. He was already on it, contender series already over, but we want a couple more before we even went on contender series. But now we're kind of in the situation where I win this fight 10-1. Contender series is kind of like the mainstream way now to get to UFC, but now we'd have to wait a whole nother year, right? So we're kind of hoping, I guess you can say, is we win this one, we kind of maybe a last minute fight, or maybe just sign us and still give us a full camp, right? Best case scenario.
Mhm.
But yeah, the real goal after this one is to make that jump to UFC, best case, but we'll see who reaches out.
No, 100%. And I agree with you. Like on the last APFC show as well that I know you were at, Chris McCarthy versus Jose Fajeda, kind of the same deal. Both were
Yeah.
super good. They were 9-2 and 9-1, and whoever won, in my opinion, was going to go somewhere. And I don't know if they've been signed yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone falls out at like an Apex show or something like that, and they're the first guy to get called. If you were to get past Roy, I know he's very, very tough, and you don't want to look past him. But is there a potential matchup in the UFC that is just exciting to you? Like not necessarily you want or will get right away, but just a flyweight that is like, oh yeah, I want him.
Um, Not really. Like you're saying, it's kind of. I've been so focused on Roy, I haven't really thought about this. I've been asked this, multiple times. I'm sure you know, but not really. There's a lot of exciting matchups, but anyone in the top five, like that's obviously gonna be exciting. That's the push, but at the moment, I don't. I couldn't say a name. No.
No, 100%. And we've got two big flyweight matchups coming up. We've got Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi. Brandon Moreno will be in attendance for your flyweight title defense. How do you think that fight next weekend is going to play out?
I think Brandon's gonna do it. Brandon, I feel. I feel like he's still really locked in. Like he kind of had his run, but I don't think he really fell off. I think he's still fully in it, doing his thing. He's tough, durable. He always brings a fight. I think he can still get it done.
100%. And we have a flyweight championship bout in December. And it's a UFC debutant from Ryzen. Very good promotion out in Japan. His name's Kai Asakura. He's taking on Alexander Pantoja. How do you think that one plays out?
That's very interesting. Man, I think I really think Kai can get it done. I know it sounds crazy, but he has so much experience. Because everybody's like, "Oh, they're giving him the shot right away," but I don't think people understand his experience he has in other organizations. I don't think they get that. Um, I think he can get it done. It fight's a fight, anything can happen. But I really think Kai, I follow him and Mondo. He trains with him, and I've been seeing and hearing how he's training, what he's doing. I think he's really locked in for this fight, and I think he can get it done.
No, 100%. And like you said, Kaya Sakura, there's a lot of people in the UFC flyweight division kind of saying, oh, why is he getting this title shot? What's happening here? You're right. Like, he's a massive star in Japan. Like, he sells out the Saitama Super
Yeah,
Arena
yeah.
as the headliner, which is kind of crazy. It's like 50,000 people. But are you thinking at all? I am that he has a lot of TKOs by those knees to the ground, soccer kicks to the ground. I think there might be a chance that he might get himself DQ'd in this fight. If you were changing from a rule set that significant, what would you be doing to make sure those like instincts weren't kicking in?
I think sure that there's that chance, but I think there's been so much time in between because he's had like I guess you say a long training camp. So I'm sure obviously during the camp he's been training not to do those things, right? So I think he's had enough time to kind of reprogram the rules in his brain and know what's legal and not legal. So I don't really think it would necessarily happen, but I think that's what it is like you just need some time to reprogram, because it's all instincts, right? If you've been doing that for his whole career, it's locked in. So you just need time to reprogram, which I think he's done. He's had the time for sure.
And would you ever want to fight in that rise and rule set where you can just go ham on people?
No, I think that's really good. I think they need to change that in the UFC. Like I know I don't know if it's Verizon, but there's one organization, might be one FC actually, where like if their head's against the cage, you can't knee them, but if it's in the open, something like that. I've heard. But like
I
again,
think
I
that is
think
one FC.
it's one, right?
I think
I
so.
think knees to the head, I mean, why not? Soccer kicks, like especially like in Turtle when people are kind of just like almost holding on and kind of just waiting. It's like you can be getting kneed in the head or kicked in the head right now. So I really think that that rule set should kind of change overall to all organizations.
No, 100%. Like in fights like Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo could have been used.
Yeah.
The turtle position, it's interesting, but I love the knees to the head. If you're getting head kicked standing up, what's the difference if you're
Yeah.
sitting down?
I know they changed the rule with the fist on the ground and stuff like that in
Mm.
November and the elbows, which we're making progress, because the elbow rule never made any sense. We already know that. But I know the change of the rules there, so some progress.
And if you could change other than the elbows or the kicks of the head, if there was any rule in MMA that you would change, what would it be?
Other rules than that,
It could be
man.
like weight cutting, like you fight at the natural weight. You
I think
can,
that's a big one. I honestly think that that would be it, is the weight cutting. Like I don't mind it. I got it like pretty dialed in, but I just feel like everybody it takes toll on them. Like you're not fighting at 100%. Like you're getting, and if you listen to Joe Rogan, he talks about all the time. Like you're really getting to like the brink of death right there. Like you're right there, and then 24 hours you're fighting in a cage. It's like so dramatic. Like you're doing one of the most dangerous things you can before by dehydrating yourself, and then after the other most dangerous thing, fighting somebody. Right? It's like having two things close together is not healthy. You're not gonna ever fight 100%. So I think yeah, the weight cutting, if you could just adjust that, fight your natural weight, or like 5 pounds, whatever, have a limit. I think that'd be number one.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Cody. Good luck on November 17th, and I hope you get the win.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Awesome.